Alright, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and as part of the Rankin Technical College AWD, or Application and Website Development 1100 C# Programming Fundamentals class, I'm doing a series of video presentations based on the book we're using for the class, that book being Muroc C# 2015. Alright, the book has 26 chapters, and I'm smack dab in the middle of Chapter 2. So we've done Chapter 1, going to Chapter 2 right now. All right. In the last chapter, we built this. This is supposed to be this right here. I don't know if I can make this smaller, still have this look the way I want it to look or not, but we're going to try here. Okay. So again, this is this. All right. What I did last time was I put all the controls on the form. So I put in 4 labels, 4 text boxes, and 2 buttons. What I want to do now, the first 2 things I want to do are, first I want to go and rename these controls, because label 1, label 2, text box 1, text box 2, button 1, button 2, etc. are poor names. Then I want to change the text on each one of them as necessary. Then I want to take these 3 controls and make them read-only. All right. Then I can worry about what do I have to do as far as putting in code. So again, these are my labels. Labels, as it says, are meant to be, they display text on a form. They're like headings. These are text boxes. They allow you to either input information into a form like we're doing here, or output information from a form like we're doing here. These are buttons, typically because Visual C# is what's known as an event-driven programming language. Typically, when you click a button, something will happen. All right, it'll start doing some processing of the form. So it says, here's the form after the controls were added. I already did that. The 3 ways I showed you. I showed you how you could go and just click on the toolbox and drag it over. I showed you how you could double click on the control in the toolbox, or how you could go in and, I guess I didn't show you, I showed you how to go and copy. Okay, there's more than 3 ways actually that you can go in and do this. So there's plenty of different ways of achieving what really is the same result. How to select and work with controls. Let's start doing it. I think that's going to make more sense. So the first thing I want to do is I want to click on my first label here, and I want to put in the word subtotal. All right, but before I do that, label 1 is a terrible name. So I'm going to go up and I'm going to change the name of my control here from label 1 to label subtotal. All right, this doesn't change because, again, that's just text. This second one will become label discount %. It's important when you're doing these things, don't put a blank space in here. All right, I'm going to purposely make an error and put a blank space in. I want to change this one here to discount amount. So I want it to say discount amount, but I'm going to come in between the words discount and amount, I'm going to put in a blank space. I'm purposely putting in a mistake. Hit enter and you get this. Property value is not valid. If I click here, it'll tell me you can't call discount amount. It's not valid. Why? Again, because I have used a blank space. So discount amount. Now it's okay. And then finally, this fourth one here will be changed to label total. All right, I'm going to change now the name of the 4 text boxes. Well, since this is called label subtotal, I'm going to call this text box subtotal. Since this one is called label discount %, this will now be text box discount %. Since this one is called label discount amount, this one will be called text box discount amount. And finally, because this one is called label total, this one will be called text box total. You do not have to map them up so the name is the same. I like doing that because I immediately know, not just because of proximity where they're located, but I can immediately tell what goes with what. This button is going to be called button calculate. This one will be called button exit. So, not like it's probably worth me writing this down right now, but I want to make sure I show you this anyway. When you're going through this stuff, number one, you create your form elements. You paint the screen, whatever you want to call this. So that's the first thing we did. Number two, you rename your all controls. Then finally, with number three, then you can change the control text if you have to. And then finally, step four, write the code. So it's a four-step process. We came through here and we painted up our form. We created the way our form looked. We did that first. Then we came in and we renamed our controls. So we've done the first two things here. Now we're going to change the control text. We don't have to change the control text for these four things. They don't have any text in them. But this, instead of having that say button 1, we want it to say calculate. So make sure you click on here, single click on it, don't double click. That does something else that we're going to get into in a few minutes. But single click on there, then go down toward the bottom and find text and change it from button 1 to calculate. Hit enter and it's changed. Go over to the exit button, go down to the bottom and change the text from button 2 to exit. So now I've got those changed. Okay, that's good. Now, the order in which I do these, of course, doesn't matter. But what I want to do is, this right now is very small. So is this, and so is this. I want these labels to be bigger. But I can't click on them and drag them to make them bigger. It doesn't work that way. Instead, I have to do two things. I can change all four of these, the size of all four of these, at the same time. And that's what I'm going to do in just a second, as soon as I clear this out. All right, so I'm going to hold down on my left mouse button and draw, this is called lasso the controls. I'm drawing an invisible box around all four of them. All right, then I come over to here, and there's a property that's called, this seems a little bit counterintuitive, but there's a property that's called auto size, and it's set to true. But setting auto size to true means you can't resize it. I want auto size to be false. I can either click right here, click the down arrow and choose false, or I can click right here and just double click. Boom, now they're false. And maybe you've noticed now I can change the size. So you'll notice now I can make these bigger. Somehow that one didn't get bigger, I don't know why. But I can click on here and I can make it bigger. That one actually got very small for some reason. What I'm going to do, just to be sure, I'm going to lasso all of them again. And I'm going to change the size. So let's see, the size of this one is 140/23, which means it's 140 pixels wide and 23 pixels tall. So for the size, I'm going to do all of them at once and just put in 140, 23, hit enter. There, now they're all the same size. Okay? Now, these are probably okay the way they are as far as their size. But if you remember, what we want to do here is we want what am I thinking here? Oh, we want these three to be read-only. Okay? We don't want the user to be able to enter anything into those. All right, so we're gonna fix that. I'm going the wrong way here. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to grab these three boxes by drawing that in. Whoops, I made a mistake there. I want to get it back to the way it was. Do a Control-Z, boom, it's back. All right, so let's draw this invisible lasso around these three things. Then I'm going to go down to where it says read only. And again, I can either click here, click down, and choose true, or I could have double clicked on it. But now those three fields are read only. Okay? And you can be as anal about this stuff as you want. Notice this purple line, that means the bottoms of these two are exactly lined up with one another. I can do it again. And again. And again. All right? By no means am I saying that what I'm doing here is perfect. In fact, just the opposite. All right, so I'm going to click on all of these. They're not very big right now, the text that's in there. So I'm going to go over to here where it says font, and I'm going to click right in that box, and I get this ellipsis, 3 dots. I'm going to click that. If you've done any work with any Microsoft product, you've seen this before. I'm going to change it to bold and 12 point and click OK. You can see how they got bigger already. All right. I also want them to be right aligned. Unfortunately, this is one of the places where Microsoft kind of falls a little short. Why? Because you've got to click text align, and you've got to do it from down here. So that's right center align. Okay, so now I've got those things are done. So I want to change each one of these, and then I'll be done with this lecture. The text here is going to be student. Okay, then here it's going to be discount %. All right, I need to make it a little bit wider. There. The third one should be discount amount. And again, I think I'll have to make it, a little bit wider. And the last one will be total. All right. Now, in the textbook, they made these things, they all lined up on the left, where mine line up on the right. All right. If you like it better, you can do it that way. I like the way this looks better. I'm a little anal about this stuff, so try to fix this, pretty this up a little bit. But I think now it's looking pretty good. Now I'm going to show you something that they do explain in the book, but not yet. I'm going to take and draw one of those invisible lassos around everything on my project, everything that's there. You can see what I just did. All right, before I do that, let's move this down just a bit and this down just a bit. All right, good. So I'm going to draw that invisible lasso around everything. Then I'm going to right mouse click and choose lock controls. Now I've locked where these things are into place. Now they can't accidentally move. All right, so what I've done so far is we created our form elements. So we did this. We renamed our controls. We just did that. We changed the text, the text on the controls. All right. So what's left in here is to write our code. So it may not seem like we're going very fast, but I'm more concerned that you understand what's going on in here. So we did this, and I've been showing you how to select and work with controls. I showed you what labels were. All right, we looked at this. Let's stop here, and we'll come back and we'll look some more at the name property in the next lecture.